In the soft glow of a Saturday dawn, Mark Ellison stood frozen, staring at the wreckage of what used to be his family's pride and joy. The backyard, once a haven of laughter and late-night stories, was now a battlefield of shattered stone and splintered dreams. The fire pit, carefully built for summer barbecues, lay in ruins, its bricks scattered like broken promises. The patio, with its perfect lines of hand-laid stone, was churned into chaos, as if a storm had ripped through their quiet suburban street. Mark's heart pounded, his mind racing to make sense of the destruction. Who could have done this? And why? What happened next would unravel a web of lies, spark a fight for justice, and shake their neighborhood to its core. It all started like any other weekend. Mark, a guy who lived for early mornings and a strong cup of coffee, stepped outside to soak in the backyard he and his wife, Sarah, had spent months perfecting. They'd poured their hearts into a fire pit for roasting marshmallows with their kids, a patio for hosting neighbors. But that morning, the peace he expected was gone. The sliding glass door opened to a scene of devastation. The fire pit was smashed to bits, the patio torn apart, its edges jagged and raw. Mark's breath caught in his throat. For a moment, he couldn't move, his mind flashing back to the day they'd finished it. The kids running around, Sarah beaming with pride. Sarah heard his sharp gasp and rushed out, her face crumpling as she took in the mess. Their two kids, Lily and Ben, trailed behind, wide-eyed, staring at the ruins of their favorite hangout spot. "What happened, Dad?" Lily whispered, her voice trembling. Mark didn't have an answer. Neighbors started drifting over, drawn by the commotion, their whispers carrying snippets of a bizarre story. "I saw guys in uniforms," one said. "Looked like cops, but not quite." Another mentioned the Homeowners Association, muttering about HOA cops who'd stormed in with sledgehammers, claiming some kind of authority. HOA cops. Mark's stomach twisted. The HOA was supposed to handle lawn complaints or mailbox rules, not demolish people's property. As the morning unfolded, anger replaced shock. Sarah, ever the calm one, called the HOA office, demanding answers, but got nothing but vague promises to look into it. Mark, meanwhile, couldn't shake the image of those uniformed men in posters, maybe smashing his family's sanctuary. He dug through old HOA emails, searching for any rule that could justify this. Nothing added up. The so-called mandate they'd left behind, a crumpled paper pinned to the fence, was a Joe Kino signature, no official letterhead, just a flimsy excuse for vandalism. Mark's blood boiled. This wasn't a mistake. This was personal. The neighborhood buzzed with rumors. Some said it was a mix-up, others hinted at darker motives. Mark started talking to neighbors, piecing together stories of petty HOA fines and overreach. A veteran down the street had been hassled over his mailbox. A young couple got slapped with a huge fine for planting a garden. An elderly widow was told her front door was too bright. The more Mark heard, the clearer it became. Their HOA wasn't just strict, it was out of control. And someone, hiding behind its rules, had targeted his family. Driven by a mix of fury and determination, Mark dove into detective mode. He pored over HOA bylaws, meeting minutes, anything he could get his hands on. Late nights blurred into early mornings, his desk littered with coffee cups and scribbled notes. Then, a breakthrough. The HOA's financial records showed weird payments gash funneled to Security Share VYCS that didn't exist. Digging deeper, Mark uncovered the truth. Those HOA cops weren't cops at all. They were hired thugs, paid by a board member named Carla Vance, a woman with a long-standing grudge against the Ellisons. It went back years to a dispute over property lines and her jealousy of their tight-knit family. She'd used her position to orchestrate this attack, cloaking it in fake authority. The revelation hit Mark like a punch. This wasn't random, it was a calculated betrayal, but also lit a fire in him. This wasn't just about his backyard anymore. It was about exposing a bully who'd terrorized their community for too long. Mark started rallying neighbors, turning hushed complaints into a chorus of defiance. They met in his backyard, sitting on mismatched lawn chairs, swapping stories of HOA abuse. A retired teacher shared how she'd been fined for a birdhouse. A single dad talked about threats over his kid's basketball hoop. The group grew, their anger forging bonds stronger than any HOA rulebook. Together, they built a case. They documented everything: letters, emails, even recordings of tense HOA meetings. Mark became their unofficial leader, his calm resolve steadying the group. They weren't just fighting for his patio. They were fighting for their right to live without fear. Word spread, and soon, neighbors who'd never spoken before showed up, eyes bright with hope. The quiet suburb was waking up, and Carla Vance's reign was crumbling. The courtroom was electric, every seat filled with neighbors, reporters, and curious onlookers. Mark sat at the plaintiff's table, his heart racing. His lawyer, James Carter, was a bulldog with a knack for cutting through lies. Carter laid out the EVY Denke with surgical precision: forged documents, shady payments, and Carla's personal vendetta. Screenshots flashed on the screen, emails exposing her orders to the fake cops. The gallery gasped as witnesses' neighbors Mark had rallied took the stand, their stories painting a damning picture of corruption. Carla and her allies squirmed at the defense table, their confidence fading. Their lawyers threw out weak objections, but the judge wasn't HOA-ing it. When Mark took the stand, the room went still. "This isn't just about my family's fire pit," he said, his voice steady but fierce. "It's about our community, about trust, about standing up to bullies who think they're untouchable." His words hit hard, sparking murmurs of agreement from the crowd. The jury didn't take long. When they returned, the verdict was clear: Carla and her crew were guilty. The judge's voice boomed. Damages awarded to the plaintiff 6 figures, to be paid by those responsible for this malicious act. The courtroom erupted, cheers mixing with relieved sobs. Mark felt the weight lift, not just from his shoulders, but from the whole neighborhood. Outside, neighbors hugged, strangers no more. They'd won more than money they'd won their community back. In the weeks that followed, the neighborhood changed. The HOA was overhauled, its new leaders focused on fairness, not control. Mark and Sarah rebuilt their fire pit, each brick a symbol of their fight. Neighbors helped, hammering nails and sharing beers, their laughter echoing into the night. The patio became a gathering spot again, but now it meant more: a reminder that they'd stood together and won. Carla faced fraud charges, her power stripped away. The fake cops were gone, their lies exposed. As sparks rose from the fire pit one evening, Mark looked around at the faces of his neighbors, now friends. They'd turned a nightmare into a new beginning. The suburb that once whispered in fear now buzzed with hope, its streets alive with a spirit of unity. The Ellisons' backyard wasn't just a backyard anymore. It was a battleground where justice had triumphed. What do you think? Was Mark's fight worth the toll it took on his family? Should he have let it go and moved on? Or was exposing the truth the only way to heal the community? And what about Carla? Did she deserve a second chance? Or should she face even harsher consequences? Drop your thoughts below. Hit that like button if this story fired you up, and subscribe for more tales of real people taking on the odds. Let's keep the conversation going.